everyone, welcome to Biology with MJ. This is MJ, your enthusiastic guide. So whether you are a NEET aspirant or simply a biology lover, this video is filled with valuable insights and knowledge. Okay, so stay tuned till the end of the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you never miss an update. Remember to like, comment and share this video with your friends. Okay, so let's get to the video.
Hello students, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to start off with the chapter Plant Kingdom. Okay, and we are going to cover the topics classification systems and all about algae in this video. For the previous lectures on living world and biological classification, you can check out the playlists that are tagged in the description below this video. Alright, so let us begin with this lecture. And students, stay tuned till the end of this video because we are also going to cover the last 10-year NEET PYQs at the end of this video. Those PYQs would be related to everything that we are studying today, okay? So, types of classification. Now, there are mainly three kinds of classification systems that are present. These are artificial system, number one, natural system, and the phylogenetic system. These are the three main types of classification systems that are present. In living world, what did we study about classification? Classification is dividing organisms into various groups, okay, based on some similarities and dissimilarities in their characters. So, what are artificial systems of classification? Artificial systems में क्या होता है? What happens is that only gross superficial morphological characters are used in this system. Okay, based on certain external features which are very easily identifiable, which are superficial, based on just gross morphology, that is on the basis of how the organism is looking, कैसा हमें organism दिख रहा है. On the basis of those superficial characters, classification is done. So this is about artificial system of classification. Now, for example, if we consider angiosperms, we shall take the example of angiosperms to discuss the system of classification. So what happened in angiosperms? The artificial system of classification in angiosperms was given by Carolus Linnaeus. Okay, so what he did was based on some gross characters, external characters like habit, the color, the number and shape of leaves, okay, all of these characters we can see with our naked eye. So on the basis of these characters, he classified angiosperms based on, and this classification system was known as artificial system of classification. So this system was based mainly on the vegetative plant parts. For example, roots, shoots, stems हो गई, leaves, or on the androecium structure. Androecium क्या होता है? It is the collection of stamens, which is the male reproductive organ of the flowers. So color of the flower, leaf shape, androecium. See, this is the androecium here. This whole whorl is known as the androecium. Okay. So on the basis of these superficial characters, classification, if the classification is being done, such a system is known as artificial system of classification. Now it is not all roses. There are certain cons also to this system. What are the disadvantages of the artificial system? The disadvantage number one is that it separated the closely related species since the system was based on a few characteristics. Now, क्योंकि हम बहुत थोड़े से characters consider कर रहे हैं इस system में, only gross superficial characters, so the disadvantage was that oftentimes जो closely related species हैं, उनको भी वो भी separate हो जाते थे एक दूसरे से classification system में, ठीक है, क्योंकि हम बहुत limited character study कर रहे हैं. So this was one of the disadvantages of this system. The second disadvantage was that this system gave equal weightage to the vegetative and sexual characteristics. Now we all know that vegetative characters जो होते हैं, they are very much prone to changes depending upon the environment. Okay, environmental conditions की वजह से they are उनमें changes होना बहुत ज़्यादा easy है, and sexual characters do not change that easily. So, but this system gave equal weightage to both of these characteristics, which is unfair. because vegetative characters will keep on changing as per their environment, but the sexual characters will remain the same. So equal weightage देने की तो कोई point बनता ही नहीं है, right? So this was also one of the disadvantages of the artificial system. Now coming to the natural system of classification. This system was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker for angiosperms, which are the flowering plants. So this system is based upon the natural affinities among the organisms. Okay. इस system में क्या होता है? Apart from the external features which were used in the artificial system, internal features were also included. Internal features, for example, the anatomy of the plant, the ultrastructure, the embryology की embryo का development कैसा है, the phytochemistry, उसके biomolecules, उसका chemical का study, सब कुछ internal features को भी इसमें include किया गया apart from the external features. And जो internal features हैं ये सारे के सारे these are relatively constant. So this system was more stable than the artificial system of classification because इसमें information ज़्यादा हम consider कर रहे हैं. Okay, so anatomy हो गया कि plant का anatomy क्या होता है? Plant का internal structure क्या है किसी भी organism का, right? ये हो गया अल्ट्रा स्ट्रक्चर, माइक्रोस्कोपिक व्यू, बिल्कुल गहराई में जाके जब हम माइक्रोस्कोप से देखते हैं किसी भी ऑर्गेनिज्म को, दैट इज दी अल्ट्रा स्ट्रक्चर, जिसमें हमें पूरे ऑर्गेनल्स वगैरह सब आपको दिख जाएंगे सेल के अंदर के. सो ये हो गया हमारा एम्ब्रियो का एम्ब्रियोलॉजी, एम्ब्रियो का डेवलपमेंट स्टडी करना. सो एवरीथिंग वाज कंसिडर्ड इन दिस सिस्टम. नाउ कम्स द फाइलोजेनेटिक सिस्टम ऑफ क्लासिफिकेशन व्हिच वाज गिवन बाय एंगलर एंड प्रांटल. This system was based on the evolutionary relationships between the various organisms. कैसे वो related है एक दूसरे से evolutionarily, उसके basis पे this system was developed. This system assumes that the organisms that belong to the same taxa, they have a common ancestor. ठीक है, जो भी organisms which are belonging to the same taxa, चाहे वो कोई भी हो, family, genus, class, order, चाहे किसी भी टैक्सा पे जो ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैं, दिस सिस्टम अज्यूम्स दैट इफ ऑल द ऑर्गेनिजम्स दैट आर, फॉर एग्जांपल ऑर्डर को ही हम बात कर ले, जो भी ऑर्गेनिजम्स उस टैक्सा को बिलोंग करते हैं, दे वुड हैव अ कॉमन एंसेस्टर. ये सिस्टम ऐसा अज्यूम करता है, फाइलोजेनेटिक सिस्टम. ओके, एंड ये इंफॉर्मेशन हमें मिलती कैसे? फॉसिल्स की स्टडी करके, राइट? फॉसिल जो रिमेन्स रह गए हैं, फॉसिल्स जो बन गए हैं ऑर्गेनिजम्स के, उनकी स्टडी करके इस सिस्टम को के बेसिस पे क्लासिफिकेशन होती है, उसकी इंफॉर्मेशन यहां से निकलती है फॉसिल एविडेंस से. ओके, सो एज यू कैन सी इन दिस डायग्राम, दिस इज अ फाइलोजेनेटिक ट्री जो हमें एवोल्यूशनरी रिलेशनशिप्स बता रहे हैं स्पीशीज 1, 2 एंड 3 में. नाउ ऑल ऑफ दीज स्पीशीज बिलोंग टू द सेम टैक्सा, राइट? क्योंकि ये एक लेवल पे प्रेजेंट है इस ट्री में. अब इन स्पीशीज 1 और 2 का कॉमन एंसेस्टर हो गया ये. स्पीशीज 1, 2 एंड 3 का कॉमन एंसेस्टर वुड बी दिस वन. हम और नीचे आ जाएं अगर फाइलोजेनेटिक ट्री में. सो दिस इज द फाइलोजेनेटिक सिस्टम ऑफ क्लासिफिकेशन, दैट ऑल द ऑर्गेनिजम्स बिलोंगिंग टू द सेम टैक्सा आर assumed to have a common ancestor, and this information is based on the fossil evidence. Now certain difficulties are still not resolved. हम even after the phylogenetic system is taken into consideration, because fossil remains are not always possible. Fossil remains are not always present for all the groups of organisms, or in order to resolve certain difficulties, certain other methods have to be adopted, because it is not always feasible to gather the information from the fossil evidence, because they may not be available. So उन confusions को resolve करने के लिए certain taxonomical methods हैं जो कि devise करे गए हैं. इन branches of taxonomy को हम बोलते हैं numerical taxonomy, एक है हमारा कीमोटैक्सोनॉमी एंड एक है हमारा साइटोटैक्सोनॉमी. What happens in numerical taxonomy? In numerical taxonomy, numbers and codes are assigned to all the observable characters. For example, if a character is present in a particular organism, it would be given a plus sign. If the character is absent, it would be given a minus sign, right? And if the character is not at all observed in that organism, it would be written as 0, that is not applicable. So this is, for example, for a character X. Okay, so In this way, numbers and codes are assigned to all the observable characters, be the character Y, Z, A, B, C, D, चाहे कोई भी character हो, certain numerical codes are assigned. And this data is then processed using computers. Okay, so ये numerical method use होते हैं इसमें, computers के basis पे हम इस data को analyze करते हैं. इस system का एक बहुत बड़ा plus point ये है कि hundreds of characters can be considered at the same time. Because computers का use हो रहा है, तो computers तो बहुत सारे information एक साथ process कर सकता है. And all the characters are given equal importance. That is also one of the major points of this system. Chemotaxonomy, as the name suggests, is based on cytological information. Actually, this should be opposite. This should be cytotaxonomy and this should be chemotaxonomy. Okay. So, what happens is cytotaxonomy is based on cytological information like chromosome number. What are the number of chromosomes present in the organism? What is the structure of their chromosomes? What is the behavior of the chromosomes, etc. So, based on all this cytological information, this cytotaxonomic method comprises of all of this information. ठीक है, इसके बेसिस पे कंफ्यूजन्स रिजॉल्व होते हैं क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम में बेस्ड ऑन दिस साइटोलॉजिकल इंफॉर्मेशन. इसमें क्या क्या आ गया हमारा? अगेन क्रोमोसोम नंबर, स्ट्रक्चर, बिहेवियर एटसेट्रा. कीमोटैक्सोनॉमी की बात करें तो कीमोटैक्सोनॉमी एज द नेम सजेस्ट कंप्राइजेस द केमिकल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स ऑफ द प्लांट. फॉर एग्जांपल डीएनए का सीक्वेंस, केमिकल नेचर क्या है प्रोटीन्स का. सो ये सारा जो केमिकल इंफॉर्मेशन है, इट इज used in the chemotaxonomic method in order to resolve confusions. Alright, so these were the three branches of taxonomy: numerical taxonomy, cytotaxonomy, chemotaxonomy. Numerical, as the name suggests, uses numerical information. Cyto, as the name suggests, uses the cytological information. Chemo uses the chemical information. Now let us look at the various groups that are comprised in kingdom Plantae. So kingdom Plantae is divided into 5 groups, which are thallophytes, algae. Thallophytes are also known as algae commonly, okay? Bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. These are the 5 groups that come under kingdom Plantae, okay? These are the 5 divisions of kingdom Plantae. Now, thallophytes, bryophytes and pteridophytes are called cryptogams. Why are they called cryptogams? Because they are non-seed bearing plants. They are non-seed bearing. Or we can also say that they produce spores, spore bearing. They reproduce via spores, not seeds. Whereas phanerogams are those which reproduce via seeds. So these are the seed bearing plants, okay? They form seeds, but all of these form only spores, not seeds. Alright? Now let us study about algae, okay, which is the main topic of this video. Algae are chlorophyll bearing simple thalloid autotrophic organisms. Chlorophyll bearing means that they comprise the pigment chlorophyll, which is responsible for photosynthesis. And if they are performing photosynthesis, that means they have autotrophic mode of nutrition, which explains the term autotrophic organisms. They are simple organisms, they do not have much of a complex body organization, and they are thalloid. That means their plant body is not differentiated into distinct structures like roots, stems and leaves. They have a simple structure, thalloid organisms, okay? Their thallus is not differentiable into root, stems and leaves. It is just plain thallus. Alright. Now algae, they occur in a variety of habitats. They can occur on moist stones or rocks, as you can see in this diagram. This is a rock on which algae is growing. Then soil, it can grow on soil, it can grow on wood. Variety of habitats, okay? See, it can also exist in symbiotic association with fungi in the form of lichens. What are lichens? The associations between algae and fungi in which both are benefiting each other. Okay, they can also be present on growing on organisms, for example, on sloth bear. This is a sloth bear. As you can see, it has iska jo hair hai, you can see green colored hair on its body. Why is its hair green? Its natural color is brown, right? But why the hair is green? Because algae is growing on this sloth bear. So algae can also be found growing on certain organisms. Okay, for example, in this case, a sloth bear. Now, the form and size of algae, they are highly variable. Okay, you will see a lot of diversity in this group. For example, they can exist as unicellular organisms like Chlamydomonas. This is the image of Chlamydomonas, which is the green algae. They can exist in colonies. Now, this was existing individually, independently as a unicellular organism. But it can also, algae can also exist as multicellular organism. Okay, in multicellular, various cells are involved, more than one cell is involved. So this multicellular organism is showing a colonial kind of habit. Okay, it is existing in a colonial form. These are the various colonies, daughter colonies of volvox, which is also a green algae. This main colony in which various daughter colonies are present. So the main colony is the parent colony, and inside these green circles represent the daughter colony. So this is the colonial arrangement which is seen in volvox. So we talked about the unicellular arrangement, then colonial form. Algae also exist in filamentous form, which is also a multicellular type of organization. In filamentous form, these are the various filaments, okay, long thread-like structures. It is seen in Spirogyra, which is again a green algae. Okay. Now these are kelp forests. As you can see, algae can also exist as massive plant bodies, and they can exist in marine environments like this. Okay, so this is the marine alga. Okay, kelp. So algae can also exist as kelp forests. All of these structures, these are kelps. They are found at the oceanic depths. Okay, and when they are growing together like this, they are known as kelp forests. And kelps are a type of brown algae. Okay, so you can see how much their form and size is so variable from unicellular to kelp forests, right? Now let's talk about reproduction in algae. Now reproduction in algae can occur by the three methods which we already know: vegetative method, asexual method, and sexual method. Vegetative method occurs via fragmentation. Okay, in fragmentation, what happens? The part of the body or the part of the thallus breaks off from the parent thallus and is capable of growing into a new organism once again. Asexual reproduction takes place via various kinds of spores. For example, zoospores, aplanospores, hypnospores, but the most common which you have to remember here are the zoospores, because these are the most common type of spores that are seen in algae. So you have to remember this one only, zoospores. Sexual reproduction is via three methods: isogamy, anisogamy, and ogamy. What happens in sexual reproduction? Two gametes will come together from the opposite mating types and fuse with each other in order to give rise to a zygote, okay, which will then undergo meiosis in order to form the various zoospores which are capable of giving rise to the parent organism. So in this way, this reproductive cycle which I just explained was from Chlorophyceae, but similar kinds of reproductive cycles are seen in algae. Okay. Now vegetative reproduction in algae, see, this is the parent organism, parent thallus. This is Spirogyra. Okay, so it breaks down into two parts. Now each part is capable of giving rise to a complete new organism. This process is known as fragmentation, which is the method by which vegetative reproduction occurs in algae. Asexual reproduction takes place via zoospores, aplanospores, hypnospores. See, these are hypnospores that are present here. This is the zoospore. This is, sorry, the aplanospore. These are the zoospores. Okay. Now let's talk about sexual reproduction in algae. As already told, it takes place by the fusion of two gametes which can Now, these gametes can either be similar in morphology or dissimilar in morphology. Just as we studied in the kingdom fungi and algae also, these gametes, sexual reproduction can either be isogamous, anisogamous or oogamous. If the gametes are similar in morphology, this type of sexual reproduction is known as isogamous type of sexual reproduction. If the gametes are dissimilar in morphology, sexual reproduction can be of two types, that is anisogamous and oogamous. So in isogamous, both of the gametes, that is the female gamete and the male gamete, look identical to each other. They are exactly similar in their structures. Now, what happens in algae is that in isogamous type also, it is not necessary that both of these would be motile. Either both of these are motile or both of these are non-motile. Both of these will always be similar in size. They will always look identical to each other. Okay. But they can either be motile or either they can be non-motile. Okay. So, both are motile in Eulothrix, which is again the example of a green alga. This is one of the examples. Okay, so all of these examples are very important from NCERT. You have to remember all of these, all right? Now, both of these gametes can also be non-motile. So, whatever will happen at the same time in both the gametes. Okay, either both of these are motile or either both of these are non-motile. So, if both of these are non-motile, the example of that is seen in Spirogyra. In Spirogyra, both of these gametes are non-motile. In Eulothrix, both of these gametes are motile. In both Eulothrix and Spirogyra, isogamy is seen. Okay, now in anisogamous type, what happens is the female gamete is larger in size and motile. The male gamete is smaller in size and non-motile. It is seen in Eudorina, okay, which is also a green algae. In oogamous type of reproduction, what happens? A large non-motile female gamete is there and a small motile male gamete is there. Now, oogamous type is seen in Volvox and Fucus. Okay? Volvox here is what? It is the green algae and Fucus is the brown algae. So, this was about the different types of sexual reproduction that is seen in algae. In anisogamous and oogamous, both of these gametes do not look identical to each other. They look different from each other. Okay. Now, what happens is the sex organs are in algae are non-jacketed and unicellular. They are not covered by a jacket-like structure. There is no layer of cells that is surrounding it. And the sex organs are also unicellular. Sex organs are what? Which bear the sex cells. For example, the female gamete is known as in oogamous type is known as the oosphere. Oosphere or the egg, and it is present in the oogonium. So this is the sex organ. It is non-jacketed, it is unicellular. And similarly, the sperms are produced in the spermatium, which is the male reproductive organ. Now, algae are useful to man in a variety of ways. Okay. Number one is photosynthesis. So at least half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on Earth is carried out by algae via the process of photosynthesis. Okay. So algae is present in huge amounts on this planet. So at least half of the total CO2 that is being fixed on the Earth is by algae only via the process of photosynthesis. Because what happens in photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is fixed and oxygen is released. They increase the level of dissolved oxygen in their immediate environment. Why? Because, as I just told you, they release oxygen. In photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is being fixed and the oxygen is being released. So they increase the level of dissolved oxygen in their immediate environment. So algae are mostly found growing in water in the aquatic environments. So they release a lot of oxygen which gets dissolved in their immediate environment, and this oxygen is very essential for the survival of the marine life, for the other organisms that are present in the water, other aquatic life. It is very much dependent on this dissolved oxygen because they also need something to breathe, right? They also need oxygen to breathe. So it is because of algae that they are getting this oxygen. Algae are primary producers of energy rich compounds, that is food. See, like at least half of the total carbon dioxide is being fixed by algae via photosynthesis. So it is obvious, right, that they are the primary producers of energy rich compounds, because in photosynthesis carbon dioxide is being fixed into what? It is ultimately being fixed into energy rich compounds called food, right? This is the by photosynthesis algae is preparing its food only. Okay, so they are the primary producers of energy rich compounds, and this forms the basis of the food cycles of all the aquatic animals. ओके अब फूड साइकिल कैसे होगी? बिल्कुल बेसिक लेवल पे क्या प्रेजेंट है? हमारा एल्गी प्रेजेंट है, राइट? फिर उसको आके कंज्यूम करा एक्वाटिक एनिमल्स ने, and in this way the food chain and the various food cycles connect with each other. So algae forms the basis of the food cycles. अब इन aquatic animals को आके जो है अदर जो carnivorous aquatic animals हैं वो कंज्यूम कर लेंगे, right? These were the herbivorous animals, these were the carnivorous animals, these are the herbivores, these are the carnivores which will consume these animals, and in this way the food chain will go and the food cycles operate. So what ultimately algae is forming the basis of all the food cycles of all aquatic animals. इनका भी जो basis है वो algae है, and in animals का भी basis algae ही है. Now food supplements, very important. Algae are used as food also. Certain algae are edible and people are consuming them as food. Did you know this before? Many species of Porphyra, Laminaria, Sargassum, they are among the 70 species of marine algae used as food. See, 70 species of marine algae are being used as food. This is a huge number. Okay? Porphyra. Okay? It is also known as nori. In Japan, Korea, Asian subcontinent, it is widely used. Okay, in wrapping the sushi rolls, in making the rice balls, Porphyra is being used. It is the red algae. Okay, spirulina and chlorella, very important examples. Both of these are unicellular algae. Okay, they are rich in proteins and they are used as food supplements even by the space travelers. Okay, they are used as a source of SCP, which is known as single cell protein. SCPs, what are SCPs? They are microorganisms which are being grown as for the purpose of that they are used as the sources of protein. They are the sources of protein, and that is why they are being grown in the laboratories on large scale, because they act as single cell proteins. So spirulina and chlorella are examples of single cell proteins. They are the sources of single cell proteins. Okay, they are used as single cell proteins because they are very much rich in proteins, and they are hence used as food supplement even by the people that are traveling in the space. For example, astronauts. Okay, see, this is the example of algae being used as food. These are the this is chlorella powder, tablet. In both forms it can be consumed. Okay. Now, certain brown algae and red algae, certain marine forms of brown algae, they mostly exist as marine forms only. Okay, brown algae and red algae. So they produce a large number of hydrocolloids. They produce hydrocolloids in large amounts. Hydrocolloids are water holding substances, all right. So algin is produced by marine brown algae. Carrageen is produced by marine red algae, and they are used commercially. They are being sold in the markets. Agar, which is produced by Gelidium and Gracilaria, both of these are red algae. They are used to grow microbes and in the preparation of ice creams and jelly. Agar jo hai, it is used to grow microbes. In this example, you can see this is the Petri dish. Agar is used as the medium on which the microbes are growing. See the microbial streaks on this Petri plate, on this Petri dish. In the preparation of ice creams and jellies, agar is used. So for growing microbes, for the preparation of ice creams and jellies, agar is used for this purpose. Commercially, it is being sold for these purposes. So algin, agar and carrageen, all of these are hydrocolloids. or water holding substances, and these are produced by a large number of marine brown algae and marine red algae. Okay, so by certain marine red algae and certain marine brown algae are producing these hydrocolloids. Iodine, fucus and laminaria they are rich sources of iodine. Both of these are examples of brown algae. They are rich sources of iodine. That is, here goes another use of algae. Now, algae, as I've been saying, you must be wondering what is this green, red and brown algae? Are there colors to it also? Well, yes, there are colors to algae. So, algae is divided into three classes, okay? Pay attention here. First is Chlorophyceae, which is also known as green algae. Then Phaeophyceae, which is also known as brown algae. Then Rhodophyceae, which is also known as the red algae. See, I have also matched the color of the text boxes for your better understanding. Okay, so Chlorophyceae is the green algae, Phaeophyceae is the brown algae, and Rhodophyceae is the red algae. You can also see the respective images for all of these algae, and you can see the differences in colors in these algae. Why such color differences? Because of certain pigments that are present in them, which are imparting them their respective colors. Let's talk about Chlorophyceae first. Chlorophyceae are unicellular, colonial or filamentous. Okay, they can exist in either of these three forms. They are grass green in color due to the dominance of what pigments? Chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. So here goes your answer to that question. Why is Chlorophyceae green? Because of the presence of pigments chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. These pigments are localized in definite chloroplasts. Where are these pigments present? Chlorophyll is present in chloroplasts. So easy, right? Now we are using green color for green algae. Chlamydomonas, no. So look at this. Chloroplast shape is also so variable in algae. Not only they are variable in their form, habitat, their size, they are also variable in their chloroplast shapes. You can, see that how variable is the nature. So much diversity is present. So in Chlorophyceae, chloroplasts exist in various shapes. It can either be cup shaped. In Chlamydomonas, this is the cup shaped like appearance of the chloroplast. This green colored part here, this is the cup shaped chloroplast. It is seen in Chlamydomonas. In Spirogyra, the chloroplast is ribbon shaped like this. See these spiral structures. These spiral structures are what? They are chloroplast only. So ribbon like chloroplasts are present in Spirogyra or spiral type of chloroplasts. Reticulate chloroplasts are seen in Cladophora. See, this is a zoomed view of the chloroplast. See, the reticulate like structure of the chloroplast is there. Then in Cara, discoid type of chloroplasts are present. So this is the zoomed view of this portion. Okay, as you can see, under यहाँ पे various certain structures are present. These are the discoid chloroplasts, which look like this, disc-like structures. Then plate-like chloroplasts are also there. So various shapes of chloroplasts are seen in Chlorophyceae. One or more storage bodies called pyrenoids are also located on the chloroplast. See, this is a pyrenoid. This blue colored structure here, it is a storage body. It stores the food. Okay. It contains protein. This blue colored structure, it is filled with protein besides starch. Starch is also present. See this black colored structure outside is the starch sheath. It is what? It is the starch sheath. So pyrenoids are the storage bodies of food which are located in chloroplasts. They contain protein. This is the protein area. Here the protein is stored in the pyrenoid and outside it is surrounded by a starch sheath. So it contains both protein and starch. Some algae may also store food in the form of oil droplets as well. Okay. Now the cell wall is rigid in Chlorophyceae. The inner layer, it is made up of cellulose. See, this is the inner layer. It is made up of cellulose, and the outer layer is made up of pectose. This is the outer layer. This is the inner layer. Okay. So this is about the cell wall, which is the bilayered cell wall. Outer layer made up of cellulose and outer layer made up of pectose, and the inner layer is made up of cellulose. Okay. Reproduction. In Chlorophyceae, reproduction happens by all of the three methods that we talked about. Let's talk about each method. In vegetative reproduction, fragmentation occurs, or the formation of different types of spores occurs. So either via these two methods, either of these two methods are the methods by which the vegetative reproduction takes place in Chlorophyceae. Asexual reproduction takes place by flagellated zoospores. Zoospores are there and the zoospores are flagellated also. Why is it written that flagellated zoospores specifically? Because in certain algae, certain zoospores are present. In certain algae, there are zoospores which are non-flagellated also. Exceptions are always there, right? So here the flagellated zoospores are present. 2 to 8 flagella can be present. Either 2, 5, 6, 8 flagella could be present. They are apical, that is present at the apex, and equal in length. And these flagellated zoospores are produced where? In the zoosporangia. So this is the zoosporangia in which various flagellated zoospores are formed and ultimately released. Each of the zoospore is capable of giving rise to a new plant body or the new algae. So this was about asexual reproduction in Chlorophyceae. Sexual reproduction can either is very much variable. It's high. So Chlorophyceae is a very diverse group. बहुत चीजें अलग-अलग टाइप की, हर एक chloroplast अलग-अलग टाइप के थे इसमें, chloroplast की shades. Sexual reproduction is also variable. It can be either isogamous, anisogamous, or oogamous. In isogamous type of sexual reproduction, again, what we studied, similar kind, two gametes which are similar in their morphology are present, and in anisogamous and oogamous, gametes which are dissimilar in morphology are there. So as you can see in the sexual cycle, these are the two gametes, male gamete, female gamete. They come and fuse together to form a diploid zygote. Okay, both of these are haploid. They fuse together in order to form a diploid zygote. The zygote will undergo the zygotic meiosis. What do we call it? Zygotic meiosis, because the zygote is not, giving rise to a new plant body. It is dividing via meiosis in order to again give rise to zoospores. Okay, so this phase here, this is the diploid phase in algae, and it is very brief phase. And the rest of the phase is haploid. So as you can see, the algae is alternating between this brief diploid phase and the majority of the other phase. Here in Chlorophyceae we are specifically talking about is haploid. Okay, so it is following the haplontic life cycle. Because the majority of the time Chlorophyceae is existing in the haploid stage. Okay, so via the zygotic meiosis, various zoospores are being produced. The zoospores are capable of giving rise to the new parental organism, the new organism, that is the new algae. Okay, so it will again, if it is following the asexual method of reproduction, it will undergo mitosis. Mitosis, say it will produce various zoospores in the zoosporangium. Okay, asexual reproduction कैसे हो रहा है? Zoospores से हो रहा है. Zoospores कैसे produce होते हैं? Mitosis से. So via the mitosis, various zoospores are produced. And again, sexual cycle अगर continue होनी है, तो gametes जो produce होंगे सबसे पहले तो the gametes both would be they will come and fuse together to give rise to the zygote, which will again undergo meiosis to form the zoospore. So this is how sexual and asexual reproductions are coordinating with each other. These are the dynamics of sexual and asexual reproduction in Chlorophyceae. So some commonly found green algae are Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Eulothrix, Chara, Spirogyra. So all of these algae are very important. You must remember their names, okay? So Volvox, you can see daughter colony and the parent colony in which the daughter colonies are present. This is the diagram of Chara, the various branches you can see. This is the axis, okay? Let's come to Phaeophyceae, which is also known as the brown algae, okay? We are using a color similar to brown here. So this is not actually brown, but let's use this color because This is the most related color I can find in this color tab. So Phaeophyceae is found primarily in the marine habitats. Already told you, right? It is found mostly in the aquatic marine habitats. It also shows great variation in size and form. It ranges from simple branched filamentous forms as in ectocarpus. Ectocarpus is an example of brown algae and it exists in a filamentous form. See, this is the image of ectocarpus. You can see filamentous thread-like structures. To profusely branched forms as represented by kelps. So see, these are the kelps. Just a few minutes back we saw kelp forests. So these are the kelp forests. Kelps are brown algae. They exist in profusely highly branched state. Okay, so this statement is just telling you that they can range in their size and in their forms from simple branched filamentous forms to profusely branched forms as represented by kelps. These kelps are very tall. They can reach a height of 100 meters. Okay, they are found at the depths of the ocean and they are very tall. They can reach up to this much height, 100 meters. It's a lot. So Phaeophyceae, it possesses pigments like chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, carotenoids and xanthophylls. They vary in color from olive green to various shades of brown depending on the amount of the xanthophyll pigment fucoxanthin present in them. So what imparts Phaeophyceae the brown color? The pigment xanthophyll. Xanthophyll pigment, which type of xanthophyll? Fucoxanthin. So fucoxanthin is responsible for imparting them the brown color. Now depending upon the amount of fucoxanthin that is present, they can vary in color from olive green to various shades of brown. अलग-अलग gradient shades हो सकते हैं brown के, depending on the amount of fucoxanthin present in them. They store food as complex carbohydrates in the form of laminarin or mannitol. Okay, important point, please remember it. Everything is important actually. The vegetative cells have a cellulosic wall usually covered on the outside by a gelatinous coating of algae. So क्या होगा इसमें प्लांट बॉडी में वेजिटेटिव पार्ट्स होते हैं, रिप्रोडक्टिव पार्ट्स होते हैं. सो द वेजिटेटिव सेल्स जो होते हैं विच आर नॉट इन्वॉल्व्ड इन रिप्रोडक्शन, they have a cellulosic wall which is covered on the outside by एक gelatinous coating होती है एक compound की which is known as algin. ठीक है. The protoplast contains, in addition to plastids, a centrally located vacuole and nucleus. जो protoplast होता है, okay, everything inside the cell membrane, क्या होता है उसमें? In addition to plastids, a centrally located vacuole होता है and nucleus तो होता ही है. So this is the structure of plant body. It comprises of a leaf-like structure which is known as the frond, a stalk, okay, which is known as the stipe, and this at the base is the holdfast which is responsible for attaching the plant body to the substratum. Now the algae here needs to attach itself to the substratum or the surface on which it is growing. So holdfast has that purpose. देख रहे हो finger-like projections है यहाँ पे. So it is helping in this algae to grab that substratum and hold on to it. That is why the name is the holdfast, because it is holding on to the substratum. This is the stipe. This is the leaf-like structure frond. So this is how the basic structure of the plant body of a Phaeophyceae algae looks like. Reproduction in Phaeophyceae is via all of these three methods that I already mentioned: vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation, in which the part of the plant body, small part of the thallus, breaks and falls on the ground. This is this part. Okay, it falls on the ground and then it is again capable of giving rise to a new thallus or a new plant body, just as the original plant body was there. So this is fragmentation. Okay. Asexual reproduction in most of the brown algae is by biflagellate zoospores. Zoospores are present which have two flagella. Okay, in Chlorophyceae also what was the condition there? 2 to 8 flagella could be present in their zoospores. all of those flagella were apical and equal. But in Phaeophyceae, biflagellate zoospores are present. They will have only two flagella. It is mentioned clearly. They are pear shaped. Pear जैसा shape होता है, pear fruit होता है ना, वैसा shape होता है zoospores का. And they have two flagella which are unequal and laterally attached. Chlorophyceae में कैसे attached थे? Apically and equal in length है. जबकि Phaeophyceae में they are attached laterally. Laterally यानी कि side पे attached है. यहाँ apex पे था, यहाँ sides में attached है. And they are unequal. This is the longer flagella and this is the shorter one. Right? So this is how their zoospores look like, and they are pear shaped also. This was not pear shaped. These are pear shaped. In Phaeophyceae. In Chlorophyceae it was not pear shaped. So you can see the asexual reproductive cycle. This is the plant body. This is the zoosporangium in which this is the plant body. This is the zoosporangium which is bearing the zoospores. All of these structures, these circular oval kind of structures are the zoospores. Once released, they are again capable of giving rise to the new thallus. Okay. Sexual reproduction can here also, it can be isogamous, anisogamous or oogamous. The union of gametes can take place in certain algae which are belonging to Phaeophyceae. It can take place in water where the gametes are motile, okay, or it can take place within the oogonium, that is in the oogamous species, okay, in which the non-motile female gamete is there and the motile male gamete is there. In that way, oogamy is also seen here in the sexual reproduction type of method, and union of gametes can also take place in water also, okay, where oogamy is not being followed. The gametes are pyriform, that is pear shaped, and they bear two laterally attached flagella. So the gametes are also pear shaped in Phaeophyceae, and they bear two laterally attached flagella. The flagella are present on the sides only. Okay, so as you can see here, these are the male gamete, these are the zoospores, male and female, capable of giving rise to the female gametophyte and the male gametophyte. Okay, the female gametophyte will bear the female gamete, male gametophyte will produce the sperms. They will ultimately come together, fertilize to form the zygote, which will give rise to the plant body. Okay. So this is how reproduction in Phaeophyceae is occurring. Sexual reproduction in Phaeophyceae is occurring. Some commonly found brown algae are Laminaria, Fucus, Dictyota. You can see their structures. Fronds type and holdfast is present here also. Holdfast, frond is there. In Fucus, air bladder is also there. Okay, midrib can be seen in its frond. In Dictyota, see, you can see the fronds. See, it is less branched. It was not at all branched, and this is so highly branched. This is the stipe or the stalk. Okay, Laminaria, Fucus, Dictyota. These are some commonly found brown algae. Then other forms of commonly found brown algae, are Ectocarpus, which we saw initially only. Sargassum is there. See how branched this is. Okay. Now let's come to Rhodophyceae, coming back to our original favorite red color. So Rhodophyceae is also known as the red algae. Okay. It has the predominance of the red pigment, which is called R-phycoerythrin. Alright. So what happens here is, why is it red in color? Because of the predominance of red pigment R-phycoerythrin. So majority of red algae, they are also marine. Okay, as already told, they are also marine, with greater concentrations found in the warmer areas. Where the temperatures are warmer, they are mostly found in those areas. So as you can see here, they can be present either at the surface of water in well lighted areas. They can also be present at great depths in the oceans where very less light penetrates. Okay, at great depths in ocean, only the blue-green light penetrates. Blue-green part of the spectrum, of the sunlight spectrum, penetrates at such depths. Okay, these are the lights of very short wavelengths but very high energy. So they are scattered more and they are able to reach at the great depths in ocean where the red light and the other lights with longer wavelengths cannot penetrate. So that is why the red algae are present in the great depths in ocean, because they are capable of using these light, absorbing these light for the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so they can either be present at the surface of the water in well lighted region also, and at great depths in ocean also, where very little or less light penetrates. So the red thalli of most of the red algae are multicellular. Okay, the thalli is mostly multicellular, and some of them may even have a complex body organization. Okay, various structures may, the thallus is differentiated. They store food in the form of Floridian starch. Now this is very similar to amylopectin or glycogen in structure. It is not the same as amylopectin or glycogen. It is, this point is mentioning that it is similar to these compounds in structure. Which is this? What is the stored food of red algae? It is Floridian starch. See, this is the ultra structure of the red algae. As you can see in this image, this is the cell wall. Okay, this is the chloroplast. Okay, this purple colored area, and this here is this black colored dot here is the Floridian starch, which is the stored food of red algae. Storage, this food is stored in the form of Floridian starch in red algae. Vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction. These are the three reproduction methods that are also seen in Rhodophyceae. Vegetative reproduction, as usual, as seen in Phaeophyceae and Chlorophyceae, takes place by fragmentation only. In asexual reproduction, non-motile spores are there. See, I told you, in some algae there are zoospores which are non-motile. So in Rhodophyceae, the non-motile spores are present. Okay, asexual reproduction is occurring, but via non-motile spores. That is, the spores are non-flagellated. Flagella are absent in these spores. See how you can see the variation. In Chlorophyceae, 2 to 8 flagella could be present in zoospores. In Phaeophyceae, 2 flagella were present, biflagellate zoospores were present, and in asexual reproduction in Rhodophyceae, the non-motile spores are present. Flagella are absent altogether. Algae have so much of diversity. Sexual reproduction is via non-motile gametes. Okay, it is oogamous type of reproduction, but non-motile gametes. Now you must be wondering, how come both the gametes are non-motile here? We have studied that the female gamete is the non-motile one and the male gamete is smaller and the motile one. Female gamete is the larger one and the non-motile one. But no, here comes the exception. That is the beauty of nature. Exceptions you will find always and everywhere. In Rhodophyceae, what happens is, even though the type of reproduction, sexual reproduction is oogamous, both the gametes are non-motile. Okay, usually in oogamous, the general trend where the female gamete is larger and non-motile and the male gamete is smaller and motile is followed, but in certain cases, such a type of gametes can also be seen in oogamous type of method of sexual reproduction, in which both of the gametes are non-motile. Okay, and here complex post-fertilization developments are also seen. That is, post-fertilization complex structures are being formed. We will not go into that much of detail here, okay, because that would be beyond the scope of our syllabus. So let us look at some commonly found red algae. See, Polysyphonia, which is a very bushy kind of marine red alga. Porphyra, which is also commonly known as nori, which I told initially it is edible and it is used as food in Japan, Korea, and in the Asian subcontinent altogether. So this is the frond, or it is a flat kind of alga. Okay, this frond is a very flat kind of structure. Gracilaria and Gelidium. Now these are used in the production of agar, okay, which is used commercially, right? Why was it used commercially? In the growth of microbes in order to make ice creams and jellies. So you know what happens is, the algae is taken and it is boiled and then agar is extracted from it. So agar is obtained from both Gracilaria and Gelidium. Okay, these were the examples of some commonly found red algae. Now let us compare of all of these classes. Now this table here is very important. It is from NCERT and you must remember this table by heart. Okay, no kidding, please remember it by heart. So Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae. Let us go through this table very quickly. Green algae, Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae is the brown algae, Rhodophyceae is the red algae. The major pigments here they are mentioned. In Chlorophyceae, chlorophyll A and B are present. In Phaeophyceae, chlorophyll A and C is present and fucoxanthin is present, which is responsible for imparting it the brown color. So you can remember here it very easily that chlorophyll A and B is present in Chlorophyceae. In Phaeophyceae, chlorophyll A is present only, but B ka you make C. Okay, move next in the alphabetical order. So chlorophyll A, C and fucoxanthin is present in Phaeophyceae. Additional pigment here is fucoxanthin and chlorophyll C is the change. In Rhodophyceae, chlorophyll A is present and chlorophyll D is present. Move again forward in the alphabetical order. So B, C and D, it would be very easy for you to remember. Just, photographically memorize it. Here fucoxanthin was there, here phycoerythrin was there, which is responsible for imparting the red algae, the red color. Stored food in Chlorophyceae is starch. In Phaeophyceae it is mannitol and laminarin. It could be either of these two, okay. In Rhodophyceae it is Floridian starch. In Chlorophyceae the cell wall is made up of cellulose, and there was pectose also, but the majority of the percentage is of cellulose, so that is why it is mentioned here. In Phaeophyceae, cellulose and algin is present. In Rhodophyceae, the cell wall is made up of cellulose, pectin and various polysulfate esters. The flagella number and the position of insertions. So in Chlorophyceae, 2 to 8 flagella are present in the zoospores. They are equal and apical. In Phaeophyceae, 2 unequal lateral flagella are present laterally. They are 2 biflagellate zoospores are there and they are unequal in length. In Rhodophyceae, as already told, the flagella are absent altogether. In both asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, the gametes are non-motile, that is flagella is absent, and in asexual reproduction also non-motile spores are there, that is they are non-flagellated or the flagella is absent. If we talk about their habitat, Chlorophyceae seen in fresh water, brackish water and salt water. What is brackish water? Brackish water is a type of salty water only, but it has more of salt than fresh water. Fresh water does not contain salt in it, right? So brackish water has salt in it, but that salt is less than as compared to the salt present in the marine water or sea water. So brackish water is a type of salty water that has more salt than fresh water and less salt than the marine water or the sea water. Okay, so this salt water here is the marine water or sea water only. It is written as salt water here though. In Phaeophyceae, the habitat Phaeophyceae seen in fresh water. Okay, rarely it is seen in fresh water. In brackish water it is seen. In salt water, that is marine water, it is also seen. Rhodophyceae, it is seen in fresh water. Some of it is seen in fresh water. It is seen in brackish water also. And salt water, it is seen mostly in the salt water, Rhodophyceae. That is why in bracket it is written as most. So both Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae are mostly seen in marine water or salt water. Okay. So please remember this table by heart. Again, I'm mentioning that point. Let's come to the most awaited NEET PYQs. So this question here is from NEET 2022. Hydrocolloid carrageen is obtained from Chlorophyceae and Phaeophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae, Rhodophyceae only, Phaeophyceae only. So hydrocolloids are water holding substances and hydrocolloid carrageen is obtained from red algae. Okay, so the correct answer is option number C, Rhodophyceae only. Rhodophyceae are the red algae. So hydrocolloid carrageen are obtained from certain marine red algae. So the correct answer is option number C, Rhodophyceae only. Not option A, not option B and not option D. The next question again from NEET 2022, which of the following is incorrectly matched? Ectocarpus, fucoxanthin. So fucoxanthin is what? Fucoxanthin is a type of xanthophyll pigment that is present in brown algae, right? So ectocarpus is what? A brown algae only, so it is correctly matched with this option. Eulothrix is green algae and here it is written it has mannitol. What is mannitol? Mannitol is the storage food, the storage form of food that is present in brown algae or Phaeophyceae. Food is stored in the form of laminarin or mannitol in brown algae or Phaeophyceae. but here Eulothrix is written beside it, and Eulothrix is green algae. So this is an incorrect match. Okay, hence we get a correct answer. Option number B, Eulothrix. Okay, so solving questions is very easy. You need to just have the knowledge and apply it, have the right mind to apply it. Option number C is saying Porphyra floridian starch. Porphyra is what? A red algae, and the storage food in the red algae is Floridian starch only. This option is also correct. Volvox is green algae, and the stored food in green algae or Chlorophyceae starch only. So option number A, C and D are correct. Only the incorrect match was option number B only, so which gives our correct answer, because we had to find out which of the following options is incorrectly matched. Now, which of the following algae contains mannitol as the reserve food material? Ectocarpus, Gracilaria, Volvox or Eulothrix? So, mannitol is present at the reserve food material in brown algae, right? And which among the following is brown algae? Ectocarpus is brown algae. Yes, so the correct answer is option number A, Ectocarpus. Gracilaria is red algae, and Volvox and Eulothrix are green algae. Only Ectocarpus is the brown algae. So the correct answer is option number A, because in brown algae only the food is stored as in the form of mannitol or laminarin. Which of the following algae produce carrageen? Okay, so it is a repeated, as you just a few minutes before we solved that question, that carrageen, which is a hydrocolloid, is present in red algae. It is produced by red algae. Okay, so option number A, B and D are incorrect. The correct answer is option number C, because hydrocolloid carrageen is produced by red algae. Algin is produced by brown algae. Okay, and agar, which is also a hydrocolloid, is produced by red algae. Now this is from Neet 2020. Which of the following pair is of unicellular algae? Anabaena and Volvox, Chlorella and Spirulina, Laminaria and Sargassum, Gelidium and Gracilaria. The correct answer is, it's a direct question, Chlorella and Spirulina. Both of these are unicellular algae. These are the sources of single cell proteins, okay, used by space travelers when they travel. They are used as food supplements. Okay, we studied this in the uses of algae. Okay, all of these options are incorrect. All of these are not unicellular algae. They are either Volvox here is the colonial, exists in colonial forms. All of these are it is multicellular. It exists in multicellular and colonial form. It exists in colonies, and all of these algae here are multicellular forms only. Anabaena, Volvox, Laminaria, Sargassum, Gelidium, Gracilaria. So these are the red algae only, and red algae we just studied that their thallus is mostly multicellular only. Their thallus is multicellular and also shows complex organization in some of the red algae. Okay, so all of these are multicellular algae. The correct answer is option number B, Chlorella and Spirulina. Both of these are examples of green algae, and both of these are unicellular. Let's move on to the next question. Neet 2018, which one is wrongly matched? Gemma cups, Markantia. So Markantia is a bryophyte. We have not covered this topic yet, but just for your information, I have included this question here so that I can quickly mention. Just remember it for now that Gemma cups are used in the method of asexual reproduction in Markantia. Okay, Markantia reproduces asexually with the help of Gemma cups. These are certain cup-like structures that are present in the Markantia thallus. Okay, this option is correct. Okay, we have to find out the wrongly matched one. So this is not our answer. Biflagellate zoospores are present in brown algae. Yes, this is correct. In brown algae, we studied biflagellate zoospores are present, having two flagella. Uniflagellate gametes are found in Polysiphonia. What is Polysiphonia? What kind of algae is it? It is red algae. In red algae, the flagella are absent altogether. Whether it is asexual reproduction or sexual reproduction, the flagella are absent. In the spores involved in asexual reproduction, the spores are non-motile. In sexual reproduction, the gametes are non-motile. So the option that is saying uniflagellate gametes is wrong, because flagella are absent in red algae altogether, and Polysiphonia is a type of red algae. So this is the wrongly matched option. Hence, it gives us our correct answer, because we had to find out the wrongly matched option only. Unicellular organism, chlorella. Yes, this is also a correct match. We just studied it in the previous question, right? So option number A, B and D are the correct matches. Only option number C was the incorrect match. So which gives us our correct answer, that is uniflagellate gametes with polysiphonia. This is an incorrect match. So the correct answer is option number C. This is from Neet 2017. An example of colonial algae is, very direct question, colonial algae is volvox. Okay, so the correct answer is option number B. Volvox exists in colonies. The parent colony which has numerous daughter colonies. That is how volvox is existing. Okay, it is a multicellular organism which is existing in colonial form. Spirogyre is also multicellular, but it exists in filamentous forms. Okay. Chlorella and Eulothrix, all of these options. Chlorella here is the unicellular algae. Okay. So this option is also incorrect. This option is also incorrect, and Eulothrix is also incorrect. So the correct answer is option number B, because the only colonial alga among these four options is volvox. Okay. Now this is from Neet 2016. Which of the following statements is wrong? Which one of the following statement is wrong? We have to find out. Option number A saying algae increases the level of dissolved oxygen in the immediate environment. Yes, this is true. We studied it in the uses of algae. Algin is obtained from red algae and carrageenan from brown algae. No, this is wrong. It is vice versa. Carrageenan is obtained from red algae and algin is obtained from brown algae. So this statement is wrong, and hence it gives us our correct answer, because we had to find out the wrong statement only. Option number C is saying agar is obtained from Gelidium and Gracilaria. Yes, this is true. Laminaria and Sargassum are used as food. Yes, this is also correct. Both of these organisms are used as food as well. Okay. So the correct answer is option number B, because it is showing the wrong statement. Now this question is from AIPMT 2014. Which one of the following shows isogamy with non-flagellated gametes? That is, non-flagellated means non-motile gametes. So we studied that non-flagellated gametes where in isogamy, where both the gametes are non-flagellated, are seen in Spirogyra. That is, both the gametes are non-motile. Isogamy is seen and both the gametes are non-motile. Okay, but the gametes are identical in size and morphology. So the correct answer is option number D. In Eulothrix also isogamy is seen, but both the gametes are motile. So isogamy in algae can either be via both via two methods of which come under isogamy. In one method, both the gametes are motile, and in another method, both the gametes are non-motile. So in Spirogyra, both of the gametes are non-motile, and in Eulothrix, both of the gametes are motile. So the correct answer here would be option number D. Option number A, option number B, and option number C are incorrect. Again from AIPMT 2014, an alga which can be employed as food for human being is Eulothrix, Spirogyra, chlorella, or polysiphonia. This is a direct question. We studied that chlorella is a rich source of protein, used as a source of single cell protein and used as a food supplement even by space travelers. It is sold commercially in the form of powders and tablets also. Okay, so the correct answer is option number B. It is a unicellular alga, and along with spirulina, it is employed as food for human beings. So option number A, C, and D are incorrect. The correct answer is option number B. This is from Neet 2013. We have to identify the wrong statement. Option number A saying isogametes are similar in structure, function, and behavior. Yes, this statement is correct. Isogametes are similar in their morphology also, their function also, and their behavior also. And isogametes differ either in structure, function, and behavior. Yes, this statement is also true. And isogametes differ in their structure, as in their size. The female gamete is larger and motile, and the male gamete is smaller and non-motile. In oomycetes, the female gamete is smaller and motile, while the male gamete is larger and non-motile. Now, oomycetes is the class of fungi, right? Phycomycetes is divided into two classes, further two groups, which were oomycetes and zygomycetes. So, in oomycetes, it is written that female gamete is smaller and motile, and the male gamete in oomycetes, first of all, what is their speciality? Which is why their name Oomycetes has been kept. It is because oogamy is seen in them, right? And in oogamy, the female gamete is larger and usually non-motile, whereas the male gamete is smaller and motile. So this statement is wrong, okay? Hence it gives us our correct statement. Option number D is saying Chlamydomonas exhibits both isogamy and isogamy, and Fucus shows oogamy. This statement is also correct. Option number A, B and D are correct, and option number C is showing the wrong statement. Hence it gives us our correct answer because we had to identify the wrong statement only. This is from AIPMT 2009. Mannitol is the stored food in brown algae, right? So, which of the following is brown algae? Chara is the green algae. Porphyra and Gracilaria, red algae. The brown algae is Fucus. Hence, the correct answer is option number C. In brown algae, the stored food could either be in the form of mannitol or laminarin. Here, the only option that is representing brown algae is option number C. Hence, the correct answer is option number C, Fucus. So that is the end of the video, students. Hope you enjoyed the video. This video went on for a bit longer, but I had to cover a lot of information in this video, that is why. So before ending this video and saying goodbye to you, please do not forget to follow me on various platforms like Instagram, Facebook and Telegram also, and their links have been provided in the description below. Your support means a lot to me, and please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay? See you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching this video. If you have any feedback and suggestions, or if you found something useful, do let me know in the comments below, and like this video, definitely share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.